Well, good morning, everybody. I'm about to lose my voice again. I just did the esoteric influences for today. The esoteric influences are up on the blog, the whole thing, if you want to go over there and look at that. It's still the first, or well, I think it's the third one up there. I'm going to go ahead, I think, and sticky those each week so you don't have to scroll down forever to find them. But anyway, today's a pretty cool day. I think we have an 11 energy, so I guess it depends on what you find out as to how cool it's going to be. But when we're basically talking about, oh, let me get my correct notes up here. There we go. There we go. But basically, with a master number 11 day, we're talking enlightenment, we're talking awakening, we're talking illumination, and so just pay attention. Pay attention to synchronicities today. Just pay attention to everything. Some truth could be coming out, and it's likely something that you need to hear, or whether you want to or not. I'm still, and my husband is too. My husband's a veteran, and he served at the end of the Vietnam War. He was part of the Vietnam era, so he was actually in. He and his friend went in on the buddy system, and it was probably they enlisted 3 weeks before the end of the draft. Both of their numbers were coming up, and so they just assumed that they would go, and why not just go ahead and go now when they got out of high school. So that's what they did. I mean, they no sooner graduated and they're in the army. Then 3 weeks later, they did away with the draft, so they didn't actually have to go. But there they were. So it is what it is. So, but to know that the president of the United States knew about bounties. He's saying, yeah, of course he was told. They would not tell him that. You have to tell a president that. You have to. Got to brief the president and the vice president. That's what you do. And they did. They did. But he just thinks all you have to do is lie. A lot of people do. All you got to do is lie. Just lie. Change the narrative. Restate it. Just lie. Right? Nobody believes him anymore. So he knew, and to think that that any soldier could have died at the hands of a bounty put on by Vladimir Putin, really? Yeah. So it's been interesting trying to figure out, okay, what's going on here? Why isn't he resigned? He's got to go. Can't have a president who looks the other way when this happens. Didn't tell Congress. Nobody did. Had to get it from a New York Times article. I don't know about you. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm a witch. Maybe it's because I'm an empath. I can't take liars. I can't take deception of any kind. I know it's happening. I might not know what it is. I might have to wait a while and think about it and feel in and, use my intuition and maybe go into trance state to figure out what the heck is going on. But I'm going to figure it out. One way or another, I'm going to get close, if not right on. I'm not the only one that does this, right? It's our natural state, by the way. All of us. All of us can do this. All of us can know what we know and be right. Yeah. This is so bad. It's like, you think there can't be anything any worse than what we just found out. And then we hear that there are bounties taken out on American soldiers' lives. And he knew about it and did nothing. Love and energy. What else are we going to find out today? I don't know. Well, my roosters are traveling about the property now, down here in the compound, and they usually are crowing when they're doing it. My husband just informed me, be careful of Rudy. He's the Rhode Island Red. We have a Rhode Island Red rooster and a light Brahma rooster, and the light Brahma one has feathers on his legs and feet. He's cool. That's George. I call him Lord Brahma. Anyway, but it's George. Anyway. Rudy decided to attack my husband this morning. He thinks because maybe he got too close to the hens or something. They're not with the hens, by the way. The hens are separated. So, but Rudy hangs out around the pen. So, and so does George. Although George moves about more, I think, than Rudy does. But and Rudy does though. But he decided to go after my husband this morning, and hopefully that's not going to be a trend. But he warned me anyway. So he was on the back porch this morning at the sliding glass door, wanting to be fed. So. They have food. I don't know. Never feed a duck, never feed a chicken by hand. Because once you do, and we all do it, right? You throw scratch everywhere. Scratch grates. They like to scratch them up and eat them, right? Well, if you do that, then they're going to end up on your back porch door or your front door, wanting in. Yeah. Life on the farm. Anyway. Let's go ahead and get started and take our first 3 cards. If this is your first time here, welcome. I talk a little bit while I'm shuffling, and then I'll take 3 cards. I'll do them randomly. I'll take the 13th one each time, and then if we don't need any more, we'll go on to a rune from the Elder Futhark bag, and we'll close out with a geomancy rune. Oh, good. There they are. And looks like I did not get my area set up properly for this, so hang tight just 1 second. While I get my other notes up here. We'll put this over here. I think I'm going to use my Rowan runes, the ones that I just did. I'm going to use those for today. There's my tea. All right, let's go ahead and get started. One last shuffle. We'll take our first cards. Let me bend these back a little. They get bendy. Oh, the Lovers. Card 6 of the Major Arcana. Higher self energy. Infusing our balanced polarity into form. The Lovers, of course, can talk about, the relationship you have with your partner, but it really is about the type of polarity that we experience, whether it's the masculine and feminine polarity we experience after we come into form. That's really more ego-based than anything else, I think, but we have to keep it in balance so that the ego has a chance to function properly. You get it out of balance, and then that's when, issues of ego come into play. But the other type of polarity that we deal with is also the polarity of being spirit versus this illusion of form. We never stop being spirit. That's the thing. We never stop being a soul. The soul is always present. The soul is always basically driving the existence of the body. So, but we forget that dynamic, and we focus more on the dynamic of masculine and feminine polarity. So. But on this 11 energy day, we really want to be thinking about spirit and having spirit, inform everything. The Knight of Swords. Yeah, you just, reason run mad. But the 9 is about the energy of completion and endings. So, they're kind of at the 10. You're dead on the ground, swords piercing your back, but you see the light returning. So, there you've gone as far as you can go, and now it's a new beginning is possible. You've let go of illusion. You've let go of deception. This is the 9, though, is the stuff of nightmares. It's like you can't sleep because your thoughts are plaguing you, or you keep waking up from nightmares or what have you. But again, it's all about the air element. It's about our intellect, reason, justice, balance, fairness. But it's about the mind and where our perceptions can take us. And clearly, it's taken this guy in a place that's, not the best. Let's do our last card. Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to put the Lovers in the center. We're going to have the We're going to put the 9 last, and we're going to have the 3 of Swords first. This is betrayal. Let's talk about, we'll set the cards down. Okay, we'll go ahead and we'll start with the Lovers first. Again, 6th card of the major, or card 6 of the major arcana. We see a mountain in between them that rises up a peak, reaches up to the clouds, the unknown. They're going to have unknown challenges and unknown struggle in this relationship. If you're talking partnership, or if you're talking within, it's the kind of struggle that we have when we're in form, trying to figure out how balanced are we going to be. Look, if you have too much feminine, then maybe you're a pushover. Okay, maybe you never you give yourself away to everybody. You never assert yourself. If there's too much of that, too much of the masculine side, though, and the opposite could be true. You could be way too aggressive and hostile and conflict oriented. So we try to find a way that sort of balances everything in the middle, right? You're going to have some of both in order to function. It's just you want to make sure that you don't, there's times when you have to, in other words, you look at the Chariot card, and that's really a card of you have to know when to allow and when to act, okay? So it's when to be in resistance and when to not be. Acting would be in resistance. So you're doing something. You're bringing thoughts together. You're then acting, okay? Non-resistance means you drop resistance and you're passive about something. You don't react. You don't act at all. You just observe. Well, we can't always just sit and observe, and we can't always just sit and act. Sometimes we've got to balance the two. Well, we do that best by having spirit inform the process and getting ego out of the way, but that doesn't always happen, does it? The ego gets in the way and disturbs that masculine-feminine polarity, and that's what we're talking about here. We need to have spirit inform it. That's why there's an angel up there. That's why you have the sun expressing its rays all over the place. The sun represents the creator. The angel, the creator's messenger. Reminding the souls that are inhabiting the bodies, hey, remember, you're a soul. Don't forget that. You're having fun, and I know you're having a good time, but, buzzkill's here, and you got to remember that you're actually a soul here having this experience. You don't want the ego to run amok, in other words. So that's really what we're talking about here. We see, and of course, we see Adam on the one side, the representation of Adam with the oak tree, right? We see Eve on the other with the apple tree with the serpent wrapped around it. Listen, anathema and heresy time. I don't believe that the serpent was a bad thing. I don't think that the tree of knowledge was a bad thing. And I think it was given to women because women were more intelligent and women could handle it. Women had the weight of the world, had the birthing of the world on their minds and taking care of the tribe on their minds. So of course you would give the knowledge to the woman. Not because she's weaker or because she's going to do something stupid with it. No, she's going to do the right thing. As opposed to Adam, who's confused. But then patriarchy came about, demonized women, forgot our extraterrestrial roots and who actually created these beings called humans on this planet. They didn't create our soul. Creator did that, for sure. But we got confused and patriarchy took over, and this is what it looks like now. The woman is the lesser sex, right? The lesser gender. No, we're not. We were given the tree of knowledge. We were smart enough to learn from it. We didn't narrow our vision, in other words. But now we've been betrayed. There's no light, there's no sun, there's only rain and heartache. You've got two swords piercing the heart behind one that's in the center. So what this is saying, you've got to say you've got maybe a triangle that's gone wrong. Maybe it's just friendship. Maybe it's a betrayal of maybe a different kind. Perhaps, one person has stepped out on the other and has been unfaithful. There's a betrayal, a betrayal of trust, a betrayal of love, a betrayal of commitment. But it's all interrelated. The three it means triple aspects. It's all interrelated to create this scenario of pain for this guy. And now it's just too much. He's actually found out the truth of it. All right? Whatever is going on here with the lovers, whatever we're trying to balance, whatever we're trying to do in our relationships with others today, we have betrayed them or been betrayed by somebody. And we've taken it. And it's even worse than we thought. Okay? We'll go on this side. It's even worse than we thought. But it's coming to an end. We are in 11 day. We're going to learn some things today, and we're going to find out about this betrayal all the more. Situations happening in my personal life, not between me and my husband. This is external from us, but that we're involved in it. Of betrayal, really. Started out with betrayal. And a lot of people are involved in it, not just us. And truth is coming out now. We're finding out just exactly what happened to us, right? You'll be fine, but it's just one of those things where honesty is the only thing you can do. And when you're not going to do that, you can really mess up the whole thing and cause all kinds of grief for people that don't need to happen. It just doesn't need to happen. Here we have, again, betrayal of a partnership. Or we could even look at it in terms of not just a partnership, but a collective understanding amongst people. If we want to tie this now to the bounties, oh, yeah. So whether this is something that's happening in your personal life, maybe you've got maybe your spouse, your partner has betrayed you, or you've betrayed your partner. Maybe you have a friendship that is having some issues right now, and there's some betrayal going on, and it's really causing you a whole bunch of grief. But you can see here, listen, look at the pattern on the swords for a moment. They're all arranged, aren't they? They're all connected. What you're going to find out vis-a-vis this betrayal today, whatever it is, whether it's personal or whether it's collectively what's happening to us, we also found out, I guess there was a 60 Minutes report where we found out that the, the antibody tests or something are faulty, and that the government knew it, president knew it, but they used, or whatever this test, I don't know what it was, but it was something about getting us information that would then allow us to reopen. And so we have faulty information that then gets people to reopen in a way that isn't safe. So there's more than the bounty going on. We've been betrayed in this country, that's for certain. That's for certain. There's no question about that. We have all been betrayed. Even the supporters have been betrayed by this man. So whether this is something that's happening in your personal life or it's happening collectively, it's getting reordered now. We understand the whole thing today. We'll understand what happened today. Everything's in its place. We know this happened, then this happened, then this happened, then this happened. That's what we know now. That's what this is signifying. As upset and bereft as this guy is, we have a 9 energy with this. Endings and completion. It's coming to its natural conclusion. And then tomorrow, we'll figure out what to do about it, right? So I'm going to use my Rune runes. I'm so excited about those. Oh, I love when I make a new set of runes. My husband will ceremoniously, he has one of those It's a yellow thing. It's this yellow rectangular plastic box-like thing, and it's got cuts in it. And you can take and you can put something there and put your saw in there and cut and get it straight, right? And then you put it, and so you know exactly how much, and so you can cut the same amount, same size each time, right? It's like a jig, basically, but it's yellow. If you work, I mean, people, this is a real common tool to have if you do anything like this. And most people have something like this around where you don't have to come up with some jig contraction you make yourself. You can actually use a physical thing to make that happen, and that's what he uses that. And so he just gets them, and he and and it can be hard because sometimes the branches I give him to do aren't particularly straight, and so he's dealing with curves, and goddess love him. I mean, he gets this stuff, the same. They're consistent, which is so very cool. Oh, look at this. We have Nathes, Norn rune, the 10th rune of the Elder Futhark, the one energy. The need fire within, the friction within to manifest. Oh yeah. After this, after we know what happened, oh yeah, we're going to have the friction within to manifest a new way forward here. I don't know. When you have what's happening, but then realistically, could we have expected anything else from this guy? I mean, you know who he is, right? It's not the guy on The Celebrity Apprentice. Oh no, that was a lie. That was a character he played. It wasn't him. Oh, Fortuna Major. Okay. So in geomancy, there are essentially 8 runes, but they're actually 16 because you have their complement. And the Fortuna ones, where's my piece of paper? Oh, there. The Fortuna ones, you have Fortuna Major and Fortuna Minor, and so you're going to have major success and minor success. I always interpret the Fortuna Minor, and I've said this before, it's like when you have a business, if you're a contractor or you're a shop, a repair shop or a machine shop or something like that, sometimes you do things called progress billings. If you have a project that's going to last for months and months and months, then the shop has to have income coming in. And so you get money for parts up front maybe, so you're not out anything when you have to purchase the parts for the job or materials for the job or something if you're building a home or something, So you're going to have money coming in. That's Fortuna Minor. If you have to say, okay, we've gotten to this point, I need to bill you for what we've done so far, and then we'll start in phase 2, and we'll consider that a billable thing, and you already know this, right? Because you've already planned it out, you've got the contract or whatever. That's progress billing. So that's Fortuna Minor. It's also baby steps. Maybe you're working through a problem with somebody, or maybe you're in a group of people and there's an issue that you're having to deal with, and you're having to do it in stages. So you reach one level of understanding and then another level of understanding. That's Fortuna Minor. Okay? But today we have a Fortuna Major day. And I think that, given the 11 energy for today, it's not surprising, really. I think that irrespective, okay, I'm going to change these back so they look more like the reading. Oh, no, see? And then I did it, and it was wrong. It's I feel like a weather person doing this. It's like I'm pointing to things, and I'm pointing the wrong way. It's over here, and I'm pointing over there. Yeah. So anyway, you've got this, right? Polarity got off. Something got the better of somebody. They acted when they shouldn't. They did something they shouldn't have done. They betrayed. And now we got to deal with it, okay? So whatever it is, whether it's in your personal life or whether it's what's happening in our country, we got betrayed. We're going to have to deal with it, all right? We're going to have a good outcome on that. Whatever happened here is going to inform our way forward. If we have people in our lives that are betraying us, we either need to figure out a way and help them understand, if they're important enough to us, to keep them in our lives. You're going to have to figure out a way to heal whatever just happened. Okay? You're going to have to figure that out. And you're going to have to do some forgiveness, but there's going to have to be some understanding on the part of the people who messed up that they, in fact, messed up. Just own it and let's move on, right? Figure out a way to improve communication or improve the relationship or whatever, to take out whatever little holes that were there that then allowed this to happen, okay? Generally speaking, it's because someone decides that they don't have the same level of commitment to the relationship as the other people do, or the other person does. But, and they think only of themselves, and they live in the moment, and they go and they do what they feel, right? Well, that's the traditional betrayal, all right? It's a love triangle, basically, okay? Where someone's stepping out on the other person, and they don't know about it, and then it's done behind their back, right? Stabbing him in the back and the heart and all of that all at once, right? But whether it's something like that, and that's the most traditional interpretation of this, okay? It's a love triangle. But it's basically about betrayal, and we get off track when we don't stay in balance. You don't, and then you act out and you do things that cause stuff like this to happen. And then people don't trust you anymore. See, that's the thing. People who misbehave, people who do the wrong thing, they don't want to be responsible for it. And by golly, they don't want you to not trust them anymore. Leave them there, let them do it again, right? No, if there can't be some way to resolve this, you might have to let go of that person or those people. If you have a business and you've got an employee who betrays that business, oh my gosh, you've got to get rid of them. You can't keep them there. They're going to do it again. Now, if it was truly just oh my God, I don't know how this happened, but I did this. That's different, isn't it? That's a different mindset because they really don't know how they got there. And they're horrified and they get it. They understand what they did. They understand the effect they had. Not everybody does that, though. A lot of people, not my business, not my problem. Well, I didn't do anything wrong, And then they find all kinds of ways to restate, the narrative to their favor so they don't have to be responsible. Problem is, we're not going to take it anymore. We know now what happened. Everything's in order. We might be having nightmares about it, but that's over with. We're going to use the friction within to do what we need to do about it. And we're going to come out of this in a much better place. Because here's the thing. Even if there's a bunch of BS to deal with here, such as a divorce or if you're not married and you just have to now find another place to live so there could be consequences, in other words, is what I'm saying. Even though there might be consequences to whatever happened here, this betrayal, even if it was just something got away from somebody, they didn't know, and all of a sudden there it is, and you're like, oh my God, and I did this. I didn't intend to do this. I didn't even know it was happening. That's not what we're talking about here. A decision was made to betray. I'll say it again. A decision was made to betray. Now, you might be able to forgive that. If it's a couple's relationship, you might be able to do that. And you might be able to then have a stronger relationship as a result. But even if the relationship breaks up, you both may be in a better position. You see what I mean? If the relationship wasn't meant to survive, then it wasn't meant to survive. And maybe this was the catalyst that broke it and made that true, all right? And put that part of it into play. Maybe it's something that does need to break apart. Bottom line is, Fortuna Major doesn't necessarily mean the outcome that you want, but the best one for everyone. That's another thing it could mean. So for the guy in the Oval Office to look the other way or to sanction or whatever you did, The bounties on our soldiers' heads, you've known about it for months. You've not told us. You've not responded. So as far as I'm concerned, he sanctioned it. And I don't care if that's true or not. In my mind, that's what he did. If you say nothing, you sanction it. You stand idly by while someone's beating their kid, you sanction it. I was in Walmart one time, my husband and I. I don't shop at Walmart anymore, by the way. But one time we were in there. And I think it was either it was during the wintertime. It was either at Halloween or around Thanksgiving or around Christmas. It was in that time frame. Because the store was packed with all kinds of crap. You know how it is. You know, the stores during the holidays, they put everything in the aisles, right? Well, this family, I'm looking at stuff. I'm in my basket, you know, making sure I have everything because I'm about to go check out. And this young couple with their kids come by. And you know, kids, they fuss. They fuss because of the lighting. They fuss because mom and dad aren't paying attention to them. They fuss because they're nervous. They fuss because they're hungry. Because we never prepare our kids for shopping, do we? We just need to go, so we get in the car and we go. Well, maybe our kids aren't ready to be there. If they're hungry, they're going to fuss. If they're tired, they're going to fuss. So they had like 3 or 4 kids. I don't know, a bunch of kids. They're young. And the boy does something, which was nothing, literally nothing. And that guy backhands him, sends him flying. And the look on my face, I guess, was one of horror. I just was like, and that man got in my face and said, "What are you going to do about it?" Well, I'm a black belt. I can do plenty. I'm a witch. I can do even more. But I knew that if I did anything at all, that little boy was going to get even more hurt. If you stand idly by, you give consent. If you do nothing, you give consent. I told a cashier what happened. I said, I'm sure you've got this on camera. I said, but someone needs to pay attention and someone needs to look around and make sure that family's okay. Now, whether they did anything about it, I don't know. Probably not. But it was all I could think to do besides my reaction. Backhanded him. I mean, the kid got up. He was fine. But he wasn't. So, I don't know. The longer we allow these horrific things to be done in our name around the country, or just in our personal lives, if we allow it, it continues. The reason why people are filming police now, doing this stuff to people, because it's the only thing they can think to do. If they interfere any other way, and even just taking a video could get them arrested by some of these cops. We're in a strange place where so much is allowed now, and so much is just done. And these days, it seems to be done blatantly, out in the open, in front of us. They don't care. They just do it. The guy in Buffalo, the 70-some-year-old guy, his lawyer says he can't walk now. He just wanted to talk to the police. He had a cell phone in his hand. You stand there in horror, watching things happen. And nobody does anything. Because they're afraid to. Well, we can't have that anymore. We've been betrayed. We now need to put it into order, and we need to do something. We need to act on what we know and do something. So, in any event, that's all I have to say today, I guess. I just, it's just so odd to get a reading like this, you know. It's usually not this specific. It's usually more general influences. And so I think about, you know, all the betrayal that I've had in my life, and how you feel when you realize that somebody's been doing something behind your back that you don't know about. I know a lot of people on Twitter are saying that they've got kids over in Afghanistan right now in the military. They're terrified after finding this out about the bounties. They're terrified. It's a betrayal like no other. I hope that that this reading is just about what's happening to us in the country. I hope it's not really reflective of what's happening in our daily lives, because I don't know that we can take much more. Because it just seems to be coming at us from all sides now, and it's just very difficult. But I'm encouraged by the Fortuna Major and the great success that we're going to have as a result of this. You know, once you know, you can do something about it. And now we know. And even if those in the government that could act, if they won't, after all of this, if they won't, then in November we will. And at that point, we can begin to get back on the road to sanity and compassion and building a better future where no one's, you know, people of color don't have to worry about what the police are going to do to them. That if they need help, they can flag down a police car and have them actually help them, instead of them seeing them as a threat. It's the shoot now, ask questions later a problem. That's what this is. If you wanted to have like a meme, shoot now, ask questions later. We've become a world where the other thing that's happened, and then I'm going to close here, is that we don't just shoot first and ask questions later. We do what we want to. We don't ask for permission, we ask for forgiveness later. But that suggests a particular mindset, the kind that's willing to betray, not really care so much about the consequences of it, because it furthers their agenda, furthers what they want in the moment. So you have to ask yourself regarding the bounties, what furthered his agenda in that moment? What about that did? Is it what he owes Putin? Is it what he owes Russia? Is it what he owes the Russian mafia? Does he owe the Chinese? Does he owe the Saudis? What does he owe? Who does he owe? Because there's no other reason for this. You don't sell out your country this way. You don't sell out your soldiers unless you've got some reason to do that. And there should be no reason why a president has to do that. Not one. So why is he doing it? Why did it happen? Why have we not dealt with it? Why are we only hearing it now? And why are we hearing it from the New York Times and not from our government? Again, betrayal. Yeah, it's awful. Anyway, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Check out the Esoteric Influences. I did that first. It's uploading now. It's probably uploaded. I can go and publish it here after this while I watch this. And so I'll do that, and then I'll go ahead and put that on the side panel again on the blog. And I'm also going to do the correspondences and astrological information for today. I always do that for the noon hour. The chart is cast for the noon hour, in other words. And generally speaking, other charts I do for like 8 a.m. on general stuff. But for that one, I do noon. You know, it's not that witches don't get up early. We do. But we often stay up late, so maybe we sleep in a little, you know, and so maybe we're really getting going around noon. So that's why I do it for noon. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. So anyhow, have a good day, you guys. Come back tomorrow. Click subscribe. I love you to do that. And we'll look again at the cards and the runes and figure out how that's all going to impact our lives. So anyway, have a good day. Be good to yourself. Be good to one another. Wear a mask, and blessed be.